Stop getting credit cards, lady. You got more credit cards than I do.
Ex-lovers fighting over who paid for what, including her breast enlargement.
He said he could not afford the whole thing, but he could afford half of it. And therefore, I put it on a credit card.
I was happy the way she was before she went and got a breast enlargement.
You're so full of it.
Any woman that has surgery because a guy wants it, it's got to be missing a few.
Party's on Gallardo versus Saks. Step forward, please.
37-year-old furniture store manager Mark Gallardo says his former fiancée, Renee Sachs, 41, won't return his personal items and money she owes him. Renee is countersuing for rent.
All rise. Order. Your Honor, this is case number 271 on the calendar in the matter of Gallardo versus Sachs. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
You two dated for a while. You're no longer dating. Now that you're no longer dating, each of you claim that the other owes you $5,000 for a variety of things. Why don't you tell me what you think she owes you $5,000 for?
Well, when I moved on out, the next day I went over there with a U-Haul with an escort and packed up all my stuff, left. Going through my stuff at home, I noticed that there was a couple items that were missing.
Like what?
My stereo that's in her car.
Okay.
You know, my daughter's graduation pictures, some framed pictures that I left from like Arizona and Yosemite and stuff, pewtered picture frames.
Those the picture frames that Yosemite is in?
No, these are separate ones that actually her and me were in, that I bought.
For me.
Go ahead.
Anyway, you know, flashlights, cameras.
What kind of cameras?
Canon camera,
waterproof. A Canon camera you left there?
Yep, and a Polaroid.
And a Polaroid camera. What else?
Well, an electric steamer, just, you know, little things.
An electric steamer?
Right.
You mean to steam vegetables?
To steam vegetables.
Go ahead.
The cords to my electric razor and my beard trimmer. Stainless steel frying pan.
You left the beard trimmer there, or you left the cords to the beard trimmer?
The cords.
To the beard trimmer?
And my electric razor.
What else?
There was some furniture that was left there that after I decided, because I was upset when I moved on out because I had no reason why she acted the way she did, so I rewrote another letter saying that she can have certain items, you know, and keep them there.
What? Let's run that by me again.
Okay.
You were upset, so after you were upset, you wrote her a letter, and you said in the letter you can keep certain items.
That's
right?
correct.
Which items?
That she could keep?
Yeah.
Well, like the bed that I gave her daughter.
Any of these items that you just outlined that you left behind?
No, there's more. There's about, you know, 36 items that I left there.
Your Honor, I have a list of all these items, and I've put on there whether it was a gift to myself or my daughter, and whether the other court, when I got a restraining order, asked me to write him a certified letter, went to pick his stuff up in my driveway, and it sat there for 2 hours, and he never showed up. And if these are valuable things that he thinks he really needs, he should have been there to pick them up. I'm more than willing to give them back.
Oh, okay. Do you have his beard trimmer?
Don't. No, don't even need it.
What about, do you leave cameras, 2 cameras there?
I found 1 camera in my car, and then I didn't know the Polaroid was there. I said he never left it. He must have taken it because it was always in his drawer, and then I found it last Sunday.
So you have it?
So it is there, and it's packed with his other things ready for him to have. I do not want his things.
Fine, so you have all those things. Why didn't you go and pick them up?
She never responded.
I responded. His mother signed for the letter.
So
2
just
days.
a second. So is that the reason why these things are still outstanding? Because you say she never responded to your letter.
She never responded to
Fine.
To
so
either
we'll
letter.
make an arrangement within 7 days of today's date for you to go and pick up all your stuff.
Okay. But
Fine.
Now there's a matter of monies.
Well, so now let's talk about the money.
Okay. When I met Renee, she was way in debt with about 22 credit cards.
Don't talk to her. Talk to me.
So we arranged a solution to the problem of combining all her credit cards to the lowest interest rate. You know, during this time, she goes out and purchases a 50-inch television.
Whatever she purchased, how do you get involved with that? Don't tell me about her spending.
I loaned her money to put onto her credit card.
How much money did you loan her?
Altogether, about $1,400.
according to your complaint, you only loaned her 7 and 5 is $1,200.
That wasn't a loan, Your Honor.
You said you gave her $500 at one point when you got a commission check or something?
I loaned her $700 at that
What,
time.
I have the $700 when you got a commission
She
check.
even wrote out the check for it.
Yeah, and what else?
A couple days before my father died, my stepfather, he gave me a gift of $500.
Right.
Right. I turned around and loaned that to her to put onto her Visa
That's what you say in your complaint.
Because
Right.
we both used
Just a second. That's
Okay.
7 and 5,
7 and 5.
right?
And then I put down $100 towards this 50-inch television that she purchased with no payments until 1999.
Well, when you put that $100 down for her, what did you say to her, sir?
I said, "Here's the loan for to the television."
No.
You said here's the loan onto
No,
the
he did
television?
not.
Yes.
No.
No, he did
Okay,
not.
so
Have it
that's what
written
you
on
say
the
she
check.
owes you. You say she owes you 7, 5, and $100 for the television set.
Plus, there's a matter of there's a shop that my mom shops at, and that we went there, and she purchased some stuff that I got on a credit due to the fact that she's my
I
mother.
didn't purchase that.
Just a second. Yeah.
You know, well, I have one of the garments here.
Just a second,
Okay,
sir.
I can't do anything with a size 4 tailored fit jumpsuit.
Just a second.
You know,
What does this have to do with money she owes you?
well, she still owes $240 because she still has stuff that is sitting there.
What does that have to do with you?
Because I have to pay the bill.
He bought me those things, Your
Just
Honor.
a second. You have to pay the bill?
Yeah, I paid the bill.
Well, let me hear how that happened. You took her
Well-
into a store and she said, I want to buy clothes. Would you put it on your bill?
No.
No.
No. So how did it happen? Come, talk to me.
How did it happen?
Yeah.
We went there and she was looking around. She saw this jumpsuit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she said, "Can I have it?" I said, "Sure." You know, she had it custom fit for her. And then
Right.
she threw them back at me the night when she moved on out. What am I supposed to do with two jumpsuits that don't fit me? They ain't gonna fit anybody that I know. They're custom fit for her. So, you know, I think she ought to pay for them. You know, plus she
Can
had
I
a-
have that? Sure. Have it fit for you. What should you do with it?
She
Hopefully your
wore it.
next girlfriend will be a size 4.
Mark Gallardo says his former fiancée, Renee Sachs, won't return his personal items and money she owes him. Renee is countersuing for rent.
All right, now let me hear, Ms. Sachs, let me hear about this $700 check that he gave you and this $500 check that he gave you.
There's no check that I received for $700. He wrote a check to my Visa for $700, and I was not behind on that.
So, did you both purchase items on that
Yes.
Visa?
Yes. I have.
Let me see, for
I
instance,
have
what he
something here that you
purchased.
can see everything that is.
Don't give me everything.
No, okay, then I
I
won't.
don't want everything. I just want you to show me on this particular Visa
Can-
bill where he paid the $700, some items that were purchased solely by him.
Can I show you the check that she wrote out on my checking account?
Yeah, so what? Listen to me. If two people are living together, they're
Oh, I
engaged to
did
be
that.
married, and they are using a credit card, and the credit card happens to be in one person's name, and if you're both using the credit card for joint things, going out for dinner, you're buying things for your home, those things are joint things, so that would be a rationale for you to pay part of this bill. I have to see what those items were, so can I please see them? Don't show me the whole folder. Open it up. Take out a page or two, show me where he made a $700 payment, and show me the charges for the 2 months before the $700 payment.
Your
Honor.
Just a second, don't speak.
Okay.
Just follow directions. Find where he made the $700 payment and give me 2 months' bills, itemized, on that Visa for items that were purchased. I can read, just find it.
Judge Judy, can I say something? Okay.
Say nothing. Is that it?
Yeah,
Thank you.
most of the yellow highlights are either we were going to split those or it was his solely.
All right, I have a $700 payment, so I assume that's the payment we're talking about. That looked like July.
July, yes.
July. Okay. Did you eat together at Sabella and La Torre in San Francisco? Mr. Gallardo,
Yeah, because I won tickets for The King and I, and she ended
That
up.
was in
Just a
April, Your Honor.
second.
She ended up renting a room at the Hyatt Regency.
I'm not talking about the Hyatt, sir. I asked you if you had a meal at this restaurant.
It was inside the Hyatt, yes.
No, Your Honor,
Just-
that's not what that is.
Just a second. What do you care? He says yes.
That's another time.
Doesn't make
There's
any difference.
more.
He said yes. He ate there.
He did.
This is an indicia of whether these are joint bills or whether these are just her bills.
How much was that for?
$67.13. Encore travel. $59.95. What is that for?
That's for a discount card that Mark said it would be a good idea that we would get for going whatever outings we were doing. We would save money.
I never saw a card.
Oh, okay.
There are 2 of those, Your Honor.
You better stop getting credit cards, lady. I mean, look at your file, right?
what her
Got more
desk
credit
looks
cards
like.
than I do. Natural Wonders, San Jose, California, for a shirt.
Natural Wonders for a
Yeah.
shirt. Yeah, she bought me a shirt.
She bought you a shirt.
Yeah, it's a wolf.
Okay.
He wanted it.
No, she
Yeah.
bought it for. She bought
Just
it
a
for
second.
me. It was a
Were
gift.
you together? Just a second. Were you together?
It was
Yes,
a
we were.
gift.
Up. Answer, Mike. Were you together?
Yes.
Dr. Jelnick. Is that your doctor?
Who?
That's mine.
That's yours. Well, you've got that highlighted, $4,500.
Right.
Yeah.
We agreed before going into that he would pay half that bill.
No,
he
I
said
didn't.
he could not afford the whole thing, but he
No,
could afford
sorry.
half of it. And therefore, I put it on a credit
I was
card.
happy the way she was before she went and got a breast
You're so
enlargement.
full of it.
Just a second. Hey, just a second.
She puts it on her visa?
Just a second.
Seemed like a good idea at the time, right, Mark?
Nope.
Listen to me, Miss Sachs. That's your bill. Because any woman that has surgery because a guy wants it, it's got to be missing a few. Here's another $500 for the same doctor. So this thing cost you $5,000?
Yes.
With all your bills, you spent money on this?
I can go
All
through
Parts Auto Store, $116. What's that for?
her tune-up on her car. It's her car.
Your Honor, I drove him to work every day for 10 months, 19.4 miles one way.
Your choice.
Because he lost his driver's license due to drunk driving and expressed to me that he
Oh.
didn't drink any longer. Which
Fitness
turned out to
Quest.
be...
Fitness Quest. What is that?
Some exercise thing that she
What is
ordered.
that?
No, that's not true. That's diet. That's some diet plan. We both went in on that, and I have it right here that he is half of that. I took
Diet
responsibility for half of it.
What kind of diet plan? Come
Some
on.
capsules.
Oh, BioSlim, and she was
Okay.
taking them.
And you didn't take any?
No, I didn't take darn one of them.
Okay, let's get to your counterclaim. Face nonsense. All right, Miss Sachs, you want to tell me about your counterclaim, please?
Yes, okay, Your Honor. In October, Mark and I agreed that he would pay half of my rent, which is $800 a month. He was staying at my house since September. My roommate pays her rent separately. The 3 of us agreed that he would pay 1/3 of the PG&E and 1/3 of the water, and then we each have our own phone, so he would pay half of my phone bill. I have months here that he did pay rent and then did not pay rent. He paid PG&E. He paid 1/3 of the PG&E once in 10 months.
So why didn't you kick him out?
I loved him. We were working toward
Right.
I thought was a common goal, Your Honor.
And now you broke up. And the common goal was you each were supposed to get your credit cleared up and do whatever you could to get your credit cleared up so that when you started your life together, it would be with a better credit. Is that right? Is that right?
That's what I was trying to do for her.
You were doing nothing for me, Mark.
Mark Gallardo says his former fiancée, Renee Sachs, won't return his personal items and money she owes him. Renee is countersuing for rent.
Miss Sachs, what I'm telling you both is it's over. Put a period. Move on with your life. Right?
Right.
She doesn't owe you any money, and you don't owe her any money. Neither one of you owes anybody any money. You lived in the house for 10 months. She said you didn't pay all the rent you were supposed to pay. She didn't kick you out because you really weren't a tenant. And she wouldn't have if you got married. Said to you on your wedding night, by the way, you owe me $4,500 for my rent. I guarantee it. Miss Sachs, don't speak. And as far as you're concerned, sir, that outfit that you bought, that's a present. You paid certain monies towards her credit cards. You used certain monies on those credit cards, even if they were joint things. As far as the things that you left in the house is concerned, she's prepared to return those things to you. She has them. They are itemized. All you have to do is go and get them. Now, when do you want to get them?
ASAP.
Give me a date. 5 days from today?
That'd be good.
Tomorrow? Can you be there tomorrow?
No, I'm...
Speak to me, Miss Sachs. Don't speak to him.
Your Honor,
Can
tomorrow
he be
would
there?
be good for me.
I'm sorry, I'm in
I
LA
need this
for
to
a
be
day on
over with.
business.
Okay, let's make it 4 business days from today. Do you need anybody else there when this transfer
Yes, I'd like
property
him
is
to have a
made?
police escort, as I have a restraining order against him for his violence.
Fine, we will draw up an order indicating that he
Who's
will
violent?
retrieve his items 4 business days from today with a police escort. Thank you
Okay.
very much. That's
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I took a big loss in this relationship. I had hope that, you know, oh well.
I hope she does good in her life because, you know, I mean, I actually still love her.
It's a shame that it happened. I was looking forward to having Renee as a daughter-in-law. And her daughter is a sweetie.
Yeah, she really is.
I miss her.
Brains say, boyfriend over here's got all of his jewelry in the car. I don't want to leave it on the freeway overnight.
But leave it they did, and now blame her uncle cause the car broke down.
Why is he responsible for that stupidity?
I don't know, maybe it was just too late and we were thinking that we would get it in the morning.
But first today,
So, in the last 6 months, you didn't have custody of your son. You were under a support order, and you didn't pay anything. Did they take your driver's license?
No, ma'am.
They will. This country doesn't fool around with child support anymore.
Parties on Akins versus Akins. Step forward, please.
27-year-old credit counselor Nana Gail Akins is suing her estranged husband, Leonard Akins, 28, for their child's school uniforms, daycare, and medical bills.
Order, all rise. Yeah, this is case number 287 on the calendar in the matter of Akins versus Akins. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Mrs. Akins, you are separated from the defendant. According to your papers, you've been separated from him for about 3.5 years.
Yes, almost
And you have a
4 years.
child together.
Yes.
And your request in this case is for an order from the court directing him to pay for certain things, such as your child's daycare, school uniforms, and some medical bills.
Yes.
Is he currently paying an order of support?
No, ma'am.
Do you have a court order for him to pay child support?
Yes, ma'am.
How much?
$210 a month.
Does the order provide for him to pay anything additional over and above the $210 a month?
He is to pay the $210 a month, plus he is to have him on current medical insurance.
Okay. Doesn't say anything about school uniforms?
No.
Doesn't say anything about daycare?
No.
Well, why are you coming to small claims court for those 2 things?
Because these are the items that I am paying for out of pocket by myself. I received no help from him at all. I've asked on several occasions for money for different expenses for my child. That has not been given to me.
Okay. So, Ms. Akins, I'm going to give you a quick lesson in the law. If you have a court order, that means that a judge has determined that his support obligation is $210 a month, inclusive of everything else. Not $210 a month plus anything else that you may want him to pay for. Now, the fact that he is in non-compliance with that order is another issue. How much do you say he owes you?
I came up with $3,367.
For what?
$130 for medical,
Yeah.
$3,044 for the daycare, and that
No,
is
I'm
just...
not considering daycare. You're not hearing me, Mrs. Akins. The order that you have, you just told me, is for $210 a month. Plus, he is to maintain the child on medical insurance.
Yes.
So I'm not entertaining anything else. I'm not entertaining the daycare because that should have been brought up with the judge who made the order for $210 a month. Do we understand each other?
So what are you saying? That he doesn't have to pay anything?
What am I saying? I am saying that when you went to mediation in court,
Yes.
you listed the child's expenses.
Correct.
And based upon the child's expenses, which I assume included daycare,
Oh, okay. I
the
know.
judge made the order, or the mediator made a recommendation that was reduced to an order, considering the child's expenses and his income. Based on that, court said his obligation is $210 a month. If you have additional daycare expenses and there was a change in circumstances since the original $210 a month order was made, then you go back to court and you file for an upward modification of your support order and ask for additional money, because you now have daycare expenses, which you did not have at the time the $210 a month order was made. Do you understand that?
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but what I am saying is that when we went to mediation, those things were not itemized as far as what the 210 was supposed to cover. So it was not set up as so much for daycare, this is to cover this is to cover clothing. It was not set up like that.
When you go for mediation, they ask what the child's expenses are. You fill out an expense form for the child. Did you not? Of course you did. What your rent was.
I'm trying to remember
what your rent
what I filled
was, what
out.
you spent for food, what you
Right.
spent for clothing, what you spent for gas, electric, telephone.
Correct.
That's uniform throughout the
Okay.
states. And based upon those expenses, the court made an order based upon what the child's expenses were and his income. I don't have to repeat it again. What I said was very clear. Now, have you paid the order, sir? And I'm not here to enforce that order because that's not what she's suing for.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you paid the $210 a month?
No, ma'am. The reason being
Why?
The reason being is because I've been speaking with the attorneys of the court that ordered me to pay $275. I went back in to have it readjusted. They stated that it was too much, so that's what we've been working on.
Mr. Akins.
Yes, ma'am.
When was this support order made, sir?
It's been a couple of months, about 6 months.
It's been past a year.
About
we
6
went
months.
in August
Well,
of '97.
Because I'm not going to waste any more time on this case. Let us say, sir, I take your word for it that it was the last 6 months.
Yes, ma'am.
Why haven't you paid a penny?
The reason being, Your Honor, is because I had sole custody of my son. I spoke
During
to
this last 6 months?
I spoke.
During the last 6 months?
No.
So, in the last 6 months, you didn't have custody of your son.
He's never had custody.
Shh. You didn't have custody of your son. No. You were under a support order, and you didn't pay anything.
Your Honor, the reason being is because the lawyers told me that they were working to try to change the amount that I was
Yes, but
paid.
no lawyer, Mr. Akins, listen to me. No lawyer said to you, don't pay the order. No lawyer said to you, don't pay the order.
No, they didn't.
Absolutely. No, they would say, well, we'll work on it, getting it reduced, but in the meantime, you better pay it.
Something.
Shh. Do you drive a car?
No, not now, I'm not.
Did they take your driver's license?
No, ma'am.
Do you have a driver's license?
Yes, ma'am.
They will. I'm going to tell you, they won't let you get a car registered. They won't let you get a license. They won't let you get a business registered. I mean, this country doesn't fool around with child support anymore. You had better pay your child support.
Nana Gail Akins and her husband Leonard Akins are separated. Nana Gail says Leonard owes her for her child's medical bills, daycare, and school uniforms.
Mrs. Akins, this is your lawsuit. Your lawsuit asks for things that should have been covered under the support order that was made. If it was not, and the order is an insufficient amount because you have additional expenses, your recourse is not to come to small claims court. Your recourse is to go back to the family court that made the order for $210 a month. You say it was $210, he said it was $275, whatever it is, and say this is no longer adequate for the child because I have additional expenses. Do you understand that?
I understand that, but these particular things are not covered through the child support order.
They are.
As far as
no,
the
listen
school
to me.
uniforms.
They are.
Why?
Because you say they're not doesn't make it so, Mrs. Akins. They are.
$210 is not enough money to take care of a child.
Listen to me. Then that's your problem with the court that made the child support order. You have to say this is not enough money. I need, in addition to the expenses for rent and food and clothing, the child is now going to a school that requires uniforms. I have a uniform cost. I have a cost for daycare. Those would change circumstances from the time that I originally came to court to seek child support. That's what you do.
So he doesn't have to pay anything?
I explained it.
No,
I'm not gonna explain it again. This case is dismissed. Goodbye. Go home.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's a liar. You can tell that he's a liar. If you listen to him, he couldn't even get his story straight. He is a liar.
As far as medical bills, I have no intentions of my son being sick. She never told me anything. If it was, I would have paid him. I have a job, I work. I'm a certified police officer down in the state of Texas, in Houston. So she's lying.
He doesn't have a particular occupation. Never was a police officer. He could never even finish the class. He couldn't pass the test to even get into the academy.
All parties on Carter Manzapit versus Kellogg. Step forward, please.
18-year-old student Nina Carter is suing her uncle, repair shop owner Jonathan Kellogg, 37, for selling her a car without the registration. It was impounded, and she can't get the car. Jonathan says he told her not to drive it without the papers.
You're Miss Carter?
Yes.
And Mr. Kellogg, you are her uncle.
Yes, ma'am.
Who are you?
I'm his wife.
Why don't you have a seat?
Thank you.
And you're the boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
Have a seat. You wanted a car.
Right. Yes.
Your uncle sells used cars.
Yes, he does.
So he sold you a used car. What kind of car did he sell you?
A Volkswagen Scirocco.
And how much did you pay him for the car?
$450 for the car, and $300 because he painted it. $350 more because he painted the car for us.
So you gave him $800 for the car.
Yes.
And according to the complaint, he did not have the registration for the car
Right.
the time that you had seen it, and he let you take the car without proper registration.
Yes.
Did he tell you not to drive it?
No. He told us that in a couple more days that he would have the papers and we can come back and pick it up.
And he didn't say to you, don't drive the car without registration?
No.
Did you tell her that?
Yes, ma'am.
And you needed insurance for the car?
Yeah.
And you couldn't get insurance for the car.
Right.
But you and your boyfriend wanted to drive it anyway.
We just drove it back and forth to work and home.
That's driving the car, right?
But he knew that's what we needed it for.
So you drove the car without insurance and without proper registration. According to your complaint, the car got stuck. Where did it get stuck?
On the freeway.
And you were in the car with your boyfriend. Where were you going?
Home.
Home from where?
From work.
You both work in the same place?
No. I work in Walnut Creek.
So what do? You pick him up from work?
He picks me up.
So he was driving the car.
Right.
And where do you live?
In Pittsburgh.
Both of you?
Yes.
Do you live together?
Yeah.
How long had you been living together?
Well, he was just moving into our house. Like, this was like the second day that he lived with us.
Okay. So he was living with you and your mother? And the car gets stuck on the freeway. Was this at night?
Yes.
What time?
Like 12.
Midnight.
Yeah.
Very late. So you leave the car.
Right.
And what did you do?
We called his aunt, and she came. No, my boyfriend's auntie, and she came and picked us up in Concord, where the car had broken down at.
And so you just left the car there.
Right.
So, but his aunt came to pick you up.
Yes.
In her car.
Yeah.
And then what did you do?
My boyfriend called him in the morning to let him know that the car had broken down, and my uncle said that he would come and take care of everything. He would try to pick it up or whatever, fix whatever was wrong with it. And then that was the last we heard from him.
Because in the meantime, the car got impounded by the police.
Yeah.
Because it was just left there overnight. You tried to get the car out of impound, and you couldn't because you didn't have a registration. Right?
Yeah.
That's what this case is about. So now you're suing him, not for the $800 that you paid for the car, but you want $3,500 from him. You want to explain to me why?
Yes, because my boyfriend was in the process of moving all of his stuff into our house, everything he owned. And when the car got broken down, his aunt came and picked us up with her kids in the car because she didn't want to leave them sleeping. So we left all his stuff, intentions to go back in the morning and bring the stuff home or either get the car jumped or whatever. And the car was gone. We got there with all his stuff in it. So,
why is he responsible for your stupidity and for his stupidity?
Because he never called us back. He
Maybe your
avoided
boyfriend's
us.
personal belongings weren't even in the car by the next morning. You leave a car on the freeway overnight.
We locked everything up. It was in there. When we called the tow company, they had all of his stuff in there.
So where is all of his stuff now?
They sold it with the car.
Nina Carter says her uncle Jonathan Kellogg sold her a used car without the registration. He says he told her not to drive it.
Miss Carter, according to you, your boyfriend left in the car? Clothes, personal belongings, jewelry, all that other kind of stuff, which is why I really asked you all these other questions before as to who picked you up, because I assume you went someplace to the nearest telephone, right?
Yeah.
So if you use your brains, if you're old enough to drive a car, you're supposed to use your brains. Your brains say, boyfriend over here's got all of his jewelry in the car. Let's just take a quick ride back a block or two or a half a mile and pick up all of his valuable stuff from the car, because I don't want to leave it on the freeway overnight. So again, I'm going to repeat to you. Why should he be responsible for your stupidity?
I don't know, maybe it was just too late and we were thinking that we would get it in the morning.
Yeah, well, he's not an insurer of your good judgment. So forget about your boyfriend's personal property. It's not his fault that your boyfriend left his personal property in a freeway overnight. If your property was in the car, then you leave it for a couple of minutes, but then you come right back together and say, pick me up at the car, so I can watch my very valuable $3,500 worth of belongings. Oh. Now, why did you let her take this car without a registration?
Well, Your Honor, this is the situation. I explained to Nina and her boyfriend Rick alike. It always takes a week to 10 days to get the paperwork on these particular cars. So I told Nina, take the car, told Rick as well, do not drive the car until you get the paperwork.
Just a second, take the car how?
Take the car.
Put it in your pocket and take it home?
It was registered.
Just a second. Take the car how? Put it in your pocket and take it home?
No, ma'am. The car...
So she had to drive the car?
Yes, the car was currently registered. It had current tags, but it wasn't registered to them. So that's the only thing they had to do, is get the paperwork turned in their name. And they could have taken the car home because it was registered and parked the car until they got the proper paperwork to change into their name.
Mr. Kellogg.
Yes, ma'am.
What would have happened if they had an accident on the way going home?
Okay, well...
You're not talking about tags. You're talking about everything that flows from that, Mr. Kellogg. You're talking about the ability to register a car to get insurance. You're talking about the reason why car dealers don't let you take a car out until they get a little form from your insurance company that the car is actually covered by insurance. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So that in case there's an accident, innocent people don't suffer for somebody else's stupidity. Now, you made a big mistake.
Yes, ma'am.
Because she's a young girl.
I realize that.
And they're not always very smart.
No, I realize that,
As you can tell
Your
from
Honor.
leaving all this jewelry in a car, if I believed it. So it was about 2 weeks, you say, that you drove the car before it was towed.
Exactly.
And another 2 weeks, you say, until you got the paperwork.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, your 7 to 10 days, sir, turned into a month.
Well, it did. Exactly. It did. It was 21 days. She brought it to my attention how long it had been in the impound. But
so it was in the pound for 21 days. So it was more than a month. It was almost a month and a half that you didn't have proper papers for her.
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, how much did they want to get the car out of impound?
They wanted, I think, $70 for the lien, $80 for the tow, and like $600 and something for just keeping it there. And then they told me if I wanted to get the personal belongings out, I have to bring them the title to the car keys, and $200 in cash.
So it would have cost you more to get the car out
than we paid for it.
Than you paid for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And you know whose fault that is?
Yes, ma'am.
Yours.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, that's good. See how easy that was? You assured her when she purchased the car that she would have these papers within a reasonable period of time, 7 to 10 days.
Yes, I did.
She didn't have that within 7 to 10 days. You are certainly not responsible for their stupidity in leaving the stuff in the car, whatever they left in the car. That was their problem. They should have taken it out of the car before they left the car there overnight. But it was because of you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
That they did not have the proper papers in order to get this car out in a timely fashion. And certainly they weren't going to pay both for the car and $800-900 to get the car out of impound. So you are entitled to the money for the car back. That's $800. That's what you paid for it. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff for $800, not $3,500, but $800. That's all.
Thank you. Parties are excused. You may step out.
They want to come and schlep the compost thing from your house.
When their neighbor died, he left them lots of stuff, and they're suing for all of it.
The snowman and the large Santa Claus. Tomato cages, paint, 2 garbage cans, wine glasses, 2 doormats, 2 large waste paper basket, brooms and mops. I'm not wasting purchased court time on things like canning jars.
All parties on Higbee versus Bonani. Step forward, please.
George and Johanna Higbee say their late friend's son, 30-year-old Silvano Bonani, won't allow them possessions promised by his departed father's wife. Silvano says the things mean a lot to him.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 278 on the calendar in the matter of Higbee versus Bonani. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Higbee, according to your complaint, you purchased a house in 1985, and you were next-door neighbors to the defendant, his father, and then a stepmother, because your father was married sometime after 1985 to your stepmother.
Yes,
is that right, sir?
That's correct.
This past year, your father died.
Correct.
And his will left everything to your stepmother, a life estate in the house, and after she was no longer here, the will provided that the house and other property went to you.
Correct.
The stepmother decided shortly after your father's death to move back to where she originally came from, which was, I think, Illinois.
Correct.
And she decided to transfer the house over to you.
Correct.
And then you come in. You were assisting her in packing up her things, loading up her stuff, and you claim that there was an agreement that you had certain property that she left behind, that when you took control of the house, you took. You didn't list what property that was.
Everything that was left.
Well, Ms. Higbee, that's what you say, but I need a witness to testify that this property was actually gifted to you, and that the only witness that could be would be his stepmother.
Right.
And she is sitting right here, ma'am.
Perfect. So why don't you step up? Your name is Ms.
Margaret Bonani.
Mrs. Bonani. You decided to move back to Illinois, where I assume your family and
Yes, ma'am.
your family is. Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
And they're all in Illinois?
Most of them.
These people were good to you, I assume, which is why
Very
you
good.
decided to leave them some property.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have a list of that property?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Can I see?
As best we can remember. And I suspect there was more there, but I don't know that for a fact.
Oh, it's a laundry list of stuff. Now, my question is, Mrs. Bonani, did you, in fact, tell Junior, do you mind if I call you Junior?
That's fine.
What property you were, in fact, leaving for the Higbees?
I didn't tell him, but they all knew everything that wasn't Junior's belonged to them. After.
Just a second. How would he know that?
Oh, he knew what I left him.
Well, I know he knew what you left him because according to these papers that I see, there were certain items that he purchased from you.
Yes, ma'am.
The things that you sold, and I was sort of curious about that, the things that you sold to Junior, why didn't you just give to him?
Your Honor, he pressured me into these things.
No, what I'm asking you is not pressuring. What I'm asking you is there were certain things that had belonged to his father
Yes.
and his mother that certainly had more, if any, sentimental value for him than they did for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Why wouldn't you just give them to him?
I probably would have, Your Honor, but Junior was coming on pretty strong about things.
How strong?
He said that these were his, they belonged to him, but in the will stated otherwise.
Well, I mean, all right, I'm
interject
sort of
something?
belaboring the point.
May I interject something, ma'am,
Sure.
that may have some impact on this? Margaret had given Junior several things of significant import.
Yes, the car.
Silvano's Junior's father had purchased a car in '68, I believe it was, for his mother off the showroom floor. And he kept that '68 Pontiac in absolute perfect mint condition.
Mm-hmm.
Kept that in immaculate condition because it was, in effect, a shrine to his deceased. Okay. Point is, Margaret gave that to him. Margaret gave him several things. And when it came down to this, Margaret was at the point where she had given up everything to leave Illinois to come down and marry his father. Everything. Gave her house to the kids. She didn't come down with anything. What she was taking back with her to Illinois was her new start in life up there.
Just a second.
Okay.
Mr. Higbee says that when you came to marry Mr. Benani in 1988, 89, that you came with nothing because you gave everything to your children. Is that right?
I had a bank account, but, you know, my personal things, no,
You what?
I left all my personal items up in Illinois, yes.
For your children?
To my children.
You gave them to your children?
Yes.
You gave them to your children. Didn't sell them to your children. You gave them, you just told me, to your children. Enough said about that. I mean, I just had a problem with that. And quite frankly, Mr. and Mrs. Higbee, I've read your papers, and it seems to me that you became very involved in this intrafamily problem, and you probably shouldn't have, because you got involved with packing up, you got involved with, there were police called because of this property on at least one occasion. There were charges of burglary filed against your wife because she went into the house on a day when he says she shouldn't have been in the house.
And dismissed.
Well, Mr. Higbee, you seem like a very nice man.
Thank you.
You did a very dumb thing.
Helping a friend?
Well, you were not only helping a friend, but you were helping a friend in a situation where you knew there was going to be a problem. And if you were smart, you would have said to her, listen, instead of us helping you, you have adult children, I really want to do as much as I can for you, but we don't want to get involved in this intrafamily dispute. We are not family. And you were not. And you were not. And she has grown children.
One of which came down to help us. Her son did arrive
Then
to help
her
us.
son should have had all the dealings with this, not you, because at least he had some sort of an interest in this stuff. And I'm just looking at these things, that this list, this laundry list of stuff. I'm going to go over some of it, but you know, some of it is ridiculous.
George and Johanna Higbee say they did a lot for Silvano Bonanni's late father and were promised they could take possessions left by him. Silvano says they belong to the family.
A large snowman. What is that? What is that?
It's a plastic lawn decoration or...
Ridiculous. I mean, is that what
Fine.
you're here for?
No,
A
ma'am.
large
No, ma'am.
Santa.
No, ma'am. I'm
Same
here
thing?
because he did not, in fact, live up to his part of the bargain. That he would take over the property and use the power of attorney that he used on the 1st of August.
Just a second. Just a minute. She's in Illinois. She's got all of the stuff that she wants in Illinois already, because you packed it up in the U-Haul.
This is true.
Still there.
It's true.
Of course it's true.
Or I'm on my way, as a matter of fact.
Whatever. She's
Right,
got all the
right.
stuff she wants in Illinois. My question is, it's very simple. You're in Illinois with all your stuff. Does it make any difference if Junior went in there on the 27th or the 28th or the 29th? Not to you.
Well, it wouldn't have made a difference, Your Honor, if he hadn't touched my friend's stuff that I had given them.
That's what I'm saying. So the only people it made a difference to going in prior to August 1st were the plaintiffs, because there were some things there that you say were left if you wanted them. And
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
reading the list over. Let's finish. We finished with the snowman and the large Santa Claus. Car care products. A barbecue. You have a barbecue?
It's a barbecue pit.
Okay, you still have that?
I still have it.
All right, I'm making a circle around that. Canning jars. A few tools. Grass seed. Come on, folks. A dresser mirror. What is that?
It's like a vanity mirror. That was actually there. My mother purchased that in Germany.
And it wasn't something that you had purchased from your stepmother.
That is correct. I did not deliberately purchase it.
All right. Tomato cages. Was you talking about the wire things that go around?
Yes, ma'am.
Give me a break. I'm not wasting precious
Fine.
court time on
Fine.
things like 2 doormats. Tomato cages, paint, 2 garbage cans, wine glasses, 2 doormats, 2 large waste paper basket, brooms and mops, planters, dishes, bowls. Are you talking about any fancy dishes or just everyday eating dishes?
Everyday eating.
Suitcases. What kind of suitcases?
Regular suitcases, big suitcases.
that you have a use for?
I may.
Lawn furniture. You have lawn furniture?
Folding chairs.
They want them. A car carrier. What is that?
One of those luggage rack type things that goes on top of a car.
You want that?
Sure.
You have that?
It's there.
Good. 2 bug lights. Forget it. 5 or 6 packing boxes. Forget it. What's a compost bin? From back east.
It's what
I
you
don't
put
know what
shavings from the yard and everything. You make compost to put around your flowers. And
Right. I mean, do you buy this compost bin?
My husband did.
And how much do you pay for a compost bin?
It was around $800, sir.
Do you have that?
It's there.
Is it big thing?
It's
yes,
very
it's
big.
a huge.
It's huge.
It's a big barrel type thing.
You going to transport that?
Yes.
Mr. Banani,
Yes, ma'am.
they want to come and schlep the compost thing from your house. We're going to let them.
Okay.
Right? Pieces of carpet.
All we did, ma'am, was at the court request
Ah,
make a
right.
list of
But you don't
everything
really
on
want
there.
the piece of carpet.
Yes, we do.
You want them?
Yes.
You have old pieces?
No, ma'am, I threw them away.
Threw them away. 2 large pictures. What pictures?
They were paintings, Your Honor. One was in that was left in the kitchen, and one I think was down the hall. It was huge paintings.
Why didn't you want them?
They didn't have room on the truck, and I said, anything you don't have room on the truck, it's yours to decide if you want it.
What paintings is she talking about?
These are oil paintings that were purchased in Germany by my mother and father. Actually, in that particular situation, my mother died. Half of those items went to my sisters and I. So,
Just a second. Are these oil paintings?
yes, they are.
That were there when you arrived?
Yes.
As well as that dresser mirror also. That was there when she arrived also.
That was there.
That was there. Is that an ornate thing that...
No, not really.
Why didn't you want it?
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Well, let me ask you this question. If you didn't like it, and if you had no use for these paintings that were there before, why didn't you give them to Junior instead of giving them to strangers?
I would, Your Honor, if we had had a better relationship.
It wasn't your relationship that was important.
I
You
don't
shouldn't think
ever
that.
remember him and his father having a good relationship, Your Honor.
You weren't there very long.
Well,
You weren't there very long. Video. What's a video?
It was a video that you gave me. I can't remember the name of it.
Twister. It was a video of the movie Twister.
It was just something I didn't pick up.
Shh. You have that?
No, I don't.
I don't know what you mean by hardware. If you have canning jars, do you have canning jars there?
There's a large cabinet full. Yeah.
Large cabinet full of canning jars. They want them.
Okay.
And they're going to make arrangements to pick up all that stuff. Now, I don't know what you're talking about. Paint?
Just leftover cans of
It was in
paint.
gallons of paint.
Yeah. In the wines, in champagnes.
You have that stuff?
That's her.
The wines and champagnes?
Yes.
Fine. So, we have the wines, the champagnes, we have some paint, barbecue pit, lawn chairs, car carrier, compost bin, and if you find Twister, throw it in.
The Higbees are suing their late friend's son, Silvano Bonanni, for possessions promised to them for helping out.
What do you think about that?
90% of what was left there, Your Honor, we didn't even get a chance to go over it and see what it was. So all those kinds of things I would have gone through. And some amount of that, Your Honor, we would have left for Junior had he not started this whole thing by charging my wife with breaking and entering, having policemen come out to the house and fingerprint her for an absurd claim.
Well, did your wife go into the house? Did she break into the house?
At Mrs. Bonanni's request.
Just a second.
Yes.
Just a second.
Yes. Yes. With the Bexar County Sheriff.
Just a second.
Okay.
She actually, he had changed the locks, changed the garage opener, and according to these papers, she pried open a door, which caused some damage, and went into the house.
Mm-hmm.
Now you say, with Mrs. Bonanni's permission. Mrs. Bonanni's in Illinois with her children.
But had paid the mortgage and told Junior he was not to be in the house until the 1st. Our charge was to go up there, finish going through everything that was left, take what we wanted, clean the house, prepare it for giving it to him the 1st of August. And we had planned to do all that. So it's a little different than breaking and entering the way you think of a B&E.
I understand that this was a terribly unfortunate circumstance. Bottom line is, Mr. Bonanni Jr. over here could not have been heard to complain if when he moved in there on either August 1st or July 27th that the house was dirty. So the reason that you went there was to go through the things, to see what things you wanted. That's the only reason, not to clean the house for Junior. I mean, let's forget clean the house for Junior. You went there to see.
Okay, but that's what we would have done.
That's what you were going in there for. And the reason you called the police to get in there was because you wanted to see what had been left for you. And what I'm suggesting to you is, at that point, instead of calling police and getting involved, whatever junk was left there for you, you know, tomato cages, grass seed, brooms and mops.
A wine collection, several things.
Whatever it wasn't worth getting the police involved.
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
So we did not. We did not. He called the police, not us. He filed the complaint.
No. Listen to yourself, Mr. Higbee. And I'm not saying Junior's a nice person, a good person, anything else. I'm not suggesting that he's an angel. Your wife called her in Illinois. She called the police.
Right.
She called the police. This side got the police involved first.
And this could have been avoided if I can interject one more thing. The night that the detective called us and said, case dismissed, there is no breaking and entering, there is no theft, there is no anything, I called Junior and spoke to him and said, why don't we just come up there, get what we need, you can apologize to my wife, and that's that. He refused.
I refused to apologize.
This is a good lesson for everybody who's got things, what can happen after you're not here any longer, and why people have to make careful, very careful provisions for what happens to their property.
He did take proper care, ma'am, in his last will and testament.
I understand what the will says. What I'm telling you, Mr. Higbee, is I assume that Mr. Bonanni felt that anything that he was leaving to his wife, she wanted. She didn't want these things. And what's sticking in him over here, and I quite frankly understand it, is that she would prefer to give it to strangers than to have...
Not strangers.
You are strangers to him. You were a stranger to his mother. So what I'm saying to you, I mean, you still think you're right. And there's nothing that I'm going to do that's going to suggest to you that you're not right. They're discarded things, things that she didn't want, and things that she didn't want, which may have some sentimental value for him. And I ain't talking about the garbage cans. Should go to his children, not to strangers. This is a short-term marriage where Mrs. Bonanni gave everything she owned to her children. Goodbye, folks. I've had enough.
Doesn't pay to be nice, does it?
No, you're supposed to be nice. People are supposed to be nice, but you're also supposed to be smart.
She did a favor for her best friend. It backfired.
She allowed you to come to live in her house.
Sleep in her dog's room with 3 dogs.
I don't care if you slept with 3 dogs, 2 parakeets, and a partridge. She let you come and live in the house.
Party's on Luder versus Levy. Step forward, please.
Real estate agent Carola Luder is suing her former roommate, agent Linda Levy, for taking over a lease of her Mercedes and not paying for it.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 300 on the calendar in the matter of Luder versus Levy. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
According to these papers, you two had an acquaintance, co-workers or something. Is that right?
Correct.
And there came a time when you were interested in purchasing a new car. You had a 1992 Mercedes that was on a lease.
Correct.
And the defendant, according to your papers, wanted to take over the lease on your car.
That's correct.
Is that right?
That's correct. I tried to.
And she filled out all the papers to take over your lease?
Yes.
But her papers were rejected because she had bad credit.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
But she took the car anyway. You drove it.
Right.
And you had what I consider, reading through all this stuff, a private agreement that you would pay the monthly lease on the car.
Right.
Until such time as you fixed up your credit or could buy it. Is that right?
That's right.
So far correct?
Correct.
And how long did you have the car?
From October to July 10th.
And you paid the lease on the car, but according to you, the lease payments were made late.
Yes, they were.
So what did you do?
Well, if I may back up a little bit, I was not aware initially that Ms. Levy had a tax lien on her credit, which would prevent her from obtaining a lease.
But you were aware of that when you gave her the car?
No, I was not aware of that.
Give me a time frame. October is when this arrangement was made, but then you were notified at some point that you couldn't take over the lease because she had bad credit. What month was that?
On October 6th, there was an application sent by Ms. Levy to Mercedes-Benz asking to assume the lease.
Okay, when were you notified that that was denied?
Within a week or 10 days.
So then you had options at that time?
Yes, we had another option.
And what was the other option?
We went to El Dorado Bank, and I was willing to co-sign for her to purchase the car. That was also denied.
So still, you had an option.
Exactly.
Ms. Slaughter. Your option was to say, I'm sorry, give me back my car. I have to find somebody who can actually take over this lease or purchase it, right?
Yes.
Of course. You opted to let her use the car as long as she would pay the lease.
On time.
On time, but it was within a relatively short window that you knew that she could not take over the lease.
Correct.
And that you were taking a risk, that these other people were not prepared to take a risk with her, right?
Correct.
You took the risk.
I took the risk.
But the payments, according to you, were made late. So then there came a time in July when you told her, when you had a conversation with her and told her to either clear it up, lease the car, buy the car, or, according to you, return it.
Exactly. I no longer trusted her, and my credit was at risk. She disappeared, and I knew from her daughter that she may be moving back east, and I didn't want to take the risk of having my car disappear across the states.
Okay, that's reasonable, but you gave her the option.
Yes, I gave her the option.
You gave her the option. You gave her the option to either assume the lease, purchase the car, or return it to me, according to your statement.
Right.
So she returned it to you?
Eventually, yes.
Okay, she returned it on the 10th of July.
Correct.
Had she paid June?
Yes.
Okay. You're suing her for $5,000.
Correct.
For what?
I have copies of all the damages here, spelled out exactly. And initially, as I purchased my new car, I had the option at that point of trading in the Mercedes, and I would have been rid of the problem. Linda insisted on having the car. She says, I need it for real estate. It shows better than a Toyota, and it gives me a better image. And again, because she's a friend and I trusted her, I let her pursue it. So now I'm out. The lease payment for July was not made, although she initially indicated it was.
Well, the lease payment for July, she absolutely owes you. And how much is the lease payment for July?
$375.86.
Okay. What else? What were the damages on the car that were not ordinary wear and tear?
That were not ordinary wear and tear? There were none.
None?
No.
Okay. So that's July's payment you owe her. Do you understand that?
I don't believe that I should, because she did not give me any options. She said, you moved out, I don't trust you anymore, I want my car back, and that was it.
Listen, she had no longer a mechanism for getting in touch with you easily.
We worked in the same office, Your Honor.
Were you moving? Were you in the process of moving?
No. No, I moved out from her house after she lit into me about my personal life. And then I just moved. And then when she came home, I was gone, and then she called, she was mad because I left. She wanted money. She's a total gold digger. She wanted money.
Well, listen, I don't think she's a total gold digger. I'm going to get to the rent in a second. In any event, you returned the car July 10th. So you drove it for 10 days in July, making it relatively impossible for her to get somebody else to purchase this car for July. She sort of stuck with it. So you're going to pay $375.86. That was her car payment for July. Part of your problem is, once you knew that she had bad credit, bad enough credit so that nobody would allow her to either assume the lease or to purchase the car, you should have said, I want the car back. I'm going to take care of it myself. Then you have to deal with it. Let's get to the rent. You were good enough friends when you had to move out of your home and rent it because you didn't have money. You asked if you could live with her for a month.
She told me to come and live with her, and then every month she gave me bills on phone, utilities, watering her lawn, everything. And most of the time there was like 5 people in the house. And
she allowed you to come to live in her house?
Sleep in her dog's room with 3 dogs, which was fine. I was happy to do that. I did everything I could for her to help her with her business and everything.
Listen.
And she just totally just used me. She couldn't sell the car. That's why she wanted me to take the lease over.
Listen, nobody twisted your arm to take the car, right?
Well, she did. She wanted to buy another car, Your Honor.
Oh.
And I was right there to just take over all the bills. I paid everything on the car, everything. And she knew that I couldn't get the loan.
Are you serious with me? Are you telling me that you were forced to take this car?
No.
All right. And she didn't force you, go and drag you from your house and say, you have to come and live with me? I don't care if you slept with 3 dogs, 2 parakeets, and a partridge. She gave you a place to stay when you were forced because of financial reasons to rent your house in order to survive.
Carla Luter says her former roommate, Linda Levy, took over the lease of her Mercedes, then couldn't pay for it. She says Linda also owes her for living with her. Linda says she wasn't renting a place from her, she was renting the Mercedes.
All right, let's hear, Ms. Luter. Did you discuss rent?
Initially, when she needed a place to stay, I offered, because she had nowhere to go. She has no family out here. Said, we're welcome to come in and stay for a month until you find adequate rental for yourself. When I came back from vacation and she had not found adequate housing, she said, you know, I'm really stuck. I don't have a place. I want to thank you for giving me a roof over my head. I appreciate everything that you're doing. And I said, well, I think it's only fair that you pay 1/3 of the utilities. I have a tenant downstairs, a single lady, who pays 1/3. And I asked Linda to pay 1/3. She agreed to that. And I said, when you have the $200, pay it to me as a rent, when you can afford it. So now she came to money because she was buying clothes and jewelry, obtaining a cell phone, going out for dinners. Then I confronted her and I said, wait a minute, if you could do all this, you can afford to pay me $200 a month. Well, next week she moved out without a word, no forwarding address, no note, no nothing.
Okay. So, Ms. Luter,
Your Honor, I did leave a note, and I left $200 check, and I have some of the things that I paid, receipts that I paid.
You left a $200 check for what?
Just for any phone bills for the last month or utilities that I may have owed her. I felt
Did she leave you $200 check?
Yeah, it was a post-dated $200 check, which I applied to all of this already.
Okay. All right, let's take care of the rent part. Did you say that you would take care of the 1/3 of the utilities? I assume that you did because you were taking care of the 1/3 of the utilities. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. With regard to the rent, it seems to me like you were a nice lady. So I'm going to give you some advice. You don't say to somebody, pay me $200 rent when you can afford it. Because then what you're asking a court to do is to decide whether she can in fact afford to pay you $200. And no court in this land, if they have other things to do, are going to sit down, go over her bills, her expenses, whatever else she had, and say, well, she really could afford $200, maybe she could afford $150. Nobody's going to do that, which is why that's not the way people rent rooms or rent apartments. So this was not a contract. This was a contract for something that may or may not happen, i.e., when you can afford it. Do you understand? But I find that there was actually an agreement to pay 1/3 of the utilities. Now, how much were the utilities for the months she lived there?
What's still owing is $210.53.
And that's giving her credit for the $200 that she left you.
No, I applied that towards the rent.
No, strike rent.
Strike rent.
Yes. So she doesn't owe you
pay to
anything.
be nice, does it?
What?
I said it doesn't pay to be nice.
No, it pays if you're supposed to be nice. People are supposed to be nice, but you're also supposed to be smart.
I know. Well,
and it seems like you're a smart lady, but you can't say to somebody, pay me rent when you can afford it. There'll be some people who say, I can never afford it.
She kept telling me she had no money, but then she could go out and buy clothes and jewelry and a cell phone and go out for dinners all the time.
So then you got angry because you say, well, you say you can't afford to pay rent, but you can afford to do other things, therefore,
pay me.
Go either pay me or leave.
That's what I did. I didn't tell her to leave, but I asked her to pay me.
You said pay me, so she decided to leave.
Right.
You look like a very nice, smart lady. You made a mistake.
Yes.
But you can't always be compensated for mistakes. Courts don't compensate you for mistakes. It was an error in judgment. Once you were told she had bad credit, you shouldn't have given her the car. And once you saw that she was staying beyond the month, you should have said to her, you have to pay rent. starting the first of the month. Do something. Anybody can pay $200 in rent, especially when you're paying $300 and some odd dollars for a car.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
So judgment in this case is for the plaintiff for the amount of $375.86. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She's such a control freak that she just had to always get in my face about my life and me, and you know, she just liked to control everybody and have them do everything for her. She just wanted to use people.
It was unfortunate that you know, things had to turn out between Linda and I the way they did. She was a good friend and a co-worker, and I just feel sorry for her.
Parties on Henderson versus Heredia. Step forward, please.
Joseph and Gina Henderson say Leonard Heredia's 9-year-old son, Zoran, threw the Henderson sons' expensive rollerblades in the trash. They want a new pair.
You're Junior.
Yes.
What's your first name?
Derwin.
Derwin, step up here. Who is Zoran's?
Zoran, over there.
You're next to your dad. Okay. You folks are neighbors.
Yes. Yes.
You were rollerblading,
Yes.
but only on one rollerblade.
Yes.
You took off the other one and just left it, right?
Yes.
Not very responsible. And you left it outside overnight.
Yes, I did.
Why were you just rollerblading on one rollerblade?
I just thought it was fun, and I just had one rollerblade, and I pushed with my other foot.
Now we come to you. You found the rollerblade that he left outside.
Yes.
And what did you do with it?
I put it in the trash.
Why?
I don't know.
Is this your dad?
Yes.
It says here that he's very protective of you. Is that right, sir?
Yes, I am.
I'm not going to hurt him.
Yeah, I know. I love him.
I mean, he's cute, but I'm going to find out why he put it in the trash. You don't mind that, do you?
No.
So you put it in the trash. Did you tell anybody you put it in the trash?
No.
Did you know who it belonged to?
Yes.
You not like him?
I like him.
So what'd you put his rollerblade in the trash for? Just being mischievous, naughty? Right?
Joseph and Gina Henderson say Leonard Heredia's 9-year-old son, Zoran, threw the Henderson sons' expensive rollerblades in the trash. They want a new pair.
Did your dad ask you whether or not you put the skate in the garbage?
Yes.
What'd you tell him?
Yes.
Perfect. So, your problem is that you say that they were old rollerblades and you don't want to pay the cost of new ones. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't expect them to go out and buy old rollerblades, do you?
No, no.
Did you buy these rollerblades new?
Yes, we did.
When?
We bought him for his last birthday. It was July
7th.
July 7th of last year.
And how much were they?
$140.
So your argument, your second argument is that you shouldn't pay $140 because you only threw away half the rollerblades.
Yes, yes. That's...
You know what I mean?
Oh, I understand.
Now, how old are you?
9.
You do any chores around the house?
Yes.
What kind of chores do you do?
Cat box, the silverware.
Cat box. You take care of the cat box?
Yeah.
That's a pretty nasty job. Seems to me maybe he's going to want to keep you on cat box duty for an extra year. You have brothers and sisters?
Brother.
How old is your brother?
8.
Well, maybe when he's 9, he'll get the cat box to take care of. I haven't asked you anything. Is there anything that you want to tell me?
Well, I do want to mention one thing. While we're here, I tried working out our problems between the two kids. Right now, Junior's not allowed to play with Zoran, and I think that had a lot to do with the...
Who said so?
I did.
Why?
When we first moved into the building, for the first couple of years, they played together, and you know, I thought they played like kids, and they played happily as kids. But a couple of times there was confrontations, and Junior and Zoran were out there, and Mr. Rather feel like he has to come out there and, you know, handle childhood play. And a couple of times he knocked Junior down to the ground. And that's why
father
they don't...
did?
Yeah, the father.
You can't do that, sir.
I understand.
You can't come to his defense all the time, sir. You've got to step back as a parent. Evidently, he's done some wrong things, right?
Yes.
This clearly was a wrong thing. And I have a feeling, based upon the statements that I read, that he's done a couple of other little things that aren't right in the complex where you live. Is that right? You know? Like, give me an example of what you've done in the complex that wasn't right.
Fight with him.
Why do you fight with him?
I don't know.
Is he a nice boy? Did he ever do anything to hurt you?
No.
Do you have any other problems in school?
No.
Just with him? Or with some other people too?
Some other kids.
Well, it's just too bad that two young boys who live in the same complex can't play together. And if they can't play together because you interfere, sir,
Yes, ma'am.
that's a big mistake. Is this the younger brother? Get ready for cat box duty. In any event, this lawsuit is relatively easy. You paid $140 for the skates. I'm sure you have a bill for me.
Yes, I do.
Can I just see it for a moment? Always impresses me when people keep these receipts. Really. People are so organized. All right, $140.71. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me, step out. I'll back up to you right now.
Took his computer without permission. Dad called the cops.
It seemed very reasonable to me at the time.
I'm here to tell you that it was not reasonable.
One other point, if I may.
My mouth is moving. Say nothing else. Just listen to me.
Okay.
Doesn't say stupid here.
Parties on Ruder versus Hicks. Step forward, please.
Account manager Ronald Reuter is suing his ex-wife, Laura Hicks, and his son, Adam, 15, for the return of his computer.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 298 on the calendar in the matter of Reuter versus Hicks. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Young man, why don't you have a seat, please? Mr. Reuter, you and the defendant had been married. You are divorced for many years now. How many children did you have?
One.
And this is your son?
That's correct.
Whose name is?
Adam.
According to your complaint, Adam had been living with you for several years.
Correct.
And there came a time recently when he decided to move back to his mother's home.
That's correct.
And when he left, he took your computer.
That's correct.
Without your permission.
That's correct.
You want it back.
He called me up and asked me if he could have the computer, and I said no. I understand that you want it, but it's my computer. It's a very expensive computer.
Okay, let me stop you right there. How long had he been living with you?
About 5 years.
Why did he decide to move back with his mother?
We had a falling out. He was failing freshman year in high school. I was trying to encourage him, perhaps probably pressuring him too much, to do better, to work, and try to do better, because it's going to make a big difference later on. And he was not getting it. I was frustrated. I didn't know what to do. Basically, he failed 4 out of 6 classes in freshman, and then got him signed up for summer school to make up some of those classes.
This past summer?
That's right. And then after 3 days, he quit that and decided to go live with his mother, saying that, well, if nothing else, I can always get my GED.
And it was from his mother's house that he called you and said, I want the computer?
That's correct.
And you told him you can't have it?
That's right. And the conversation went something like this. He called me up and said, look, Dad, I'd really like to have the computer. And I said, no, you can't have it. I have another computer, a smaller one, that you can have. If you want to take that, go ahead. But you cannot have the big one. And then he said, geez, Dad, thank you very much for letting me have the computer, and hung up the phone before I had a chance to answer. So I think that was on purpose of that, so the people on the other end on the other side of the conversation could hear him say thank you for letting me have the computer, and thinking that I had given it to him, which I did not. When I got home from work that day, the computer was gone. I immediately called my ex, Laura, to tell her.
So
that
you
there was a
called your
mistake.
ex at that point and you told her what?
I said, I told her there's a mistake. I did not authorize Adam to take the computer. It's my computer. If he wants to have the smaller computer, he can have it. And she says something to the effect, well, it's between me and him. I don't want to get in the middle of it. Besides, if he doesn't have a computer here, they live living in a one-bedroom house or apartment at that point, that he'll go crazy if he doesn't have that computer.
Let me stop you there. All right, Ms. Hicks, I just have some very direct questions for you. Were you present when he spoke to his father on the phone?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And the conversation went dead. Can I have the computer? And from what you heard, the answer was?
He told me that Ron told him, well, if you give me back the VCR that you brought from the house, which I guess it used to be in Adam's room or something, and a portable, handle stereo, you can have the computer.
So you went back. I assume you brought back those things.
Yes, we did.
And picked up the computer.
Yes, ma'am.
He let himself into his father's house.
Right, and I waited in the driveway.
Now, that day, did you receive a call from your former husband?
After we got back home, yes.
And he said what to you?
He said that he wants his computer back, and I said it was my understanding that you told Adam that if you brought the VCR and the stereo back, that he could have the computer. And, this is between you and Adam, because he says that's the computer that you bought for him.
But he did call immediately.
After he got home from work.
And then I assume you spoke to your son.
Yes, I did. Well, I think that he spoke to Adam on the phone first, but...
How old are you, Adam?
15 and 10 months.
You had a conversation with your father about the computer?
Yes, I did.
Tell me about your version of the conversation.
Well, I talked to him.
Now look at me.
Oh, I asked him if I could get the computer. We just kind of went back and forth.
What do you mean you went kind of back and forth?
All right, I said to him that I need the computer for school work, and I need because there are a bunch of things that I can do on it, word processing and things.
And he said to you?
Well, he said no, I use it for work, and we kind of went back and forth.
No,
oh,
I got that far. The back and forth is the part, Adam, that, and look here.
All right.
So he said no.
Yeah, and he said, I need it for work.
And he said, I need it for work, and you said?
I said, what do you need the faster computer for work for? All he basically wants it for is so he can play his game that he likes to play all the time.
Okay.
And because he does spreadsheets. He's an accountant, and he can do that on the slower computer just as good. I mean,
is that what you told him?
Yeah, I mean, he used to.
Okay, so you told your father that he could use the slower computer to do his spreadsheets, and he said to you what?
He said, I bought both of them, so, I own them, they're mine. And
and you said?
I just kind of asked, well, can I have the computer? He's like, yeah, sort of. And then I'm like, thanks, Dad, and just kind of hung up on him. That's kind of how it went, yeah, basically. And, but I hadn't gotten the computer at that time. I'm kind of nervous.
Just a minute. So then it was pretty much like, as you said, like your father said. He said you can have the older computer that's slower,
yeah,
but not the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got off the phone, Adam. Your mother was there, and you told your mother, Dad said I could have the computer. Would you take me over and get it?
Well, actually, no, I did not. We did not get the computer at that time.
When did you get it? The next day?
No, like a week later, when I had called him back again.
Okay, so you called him back again.
Yes.
Actually, I think they had, excuse me, I think they had several phone conversations within that week before he actually said to him, well, when he got off the phone and said, he said, if I take the VCR and the stereo back.
Don't take what he says as gospel.
That's why I'm saying.
Right.
He told me that.
He's doing some fancy footwork here.
I think his father's doing some fancy footwork.
Ronald Reuter says he made it clear to his son, Adam, that he could not have the computer. Adam says his dad changed his mind during a phone call.
Point of the matter is, Miss Hicks, when his father came home from work, he didn't wait a day or a week or a month to say, well, now I want my computer back. He immediately called you and said, hey, listen, there's been some kind of mistake here. I told him he could have the old computer, but he came in and took the new computer. So clearly there was no understanding between the two of them on that day. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I
I
mean, it's
understand what you're saying.
logical. Nothing
True.
happened between the two of you, between the time he got off the phone with his father and he went over to get, with your assistance, the computer. I mean, you said to me his father was at work. I mean,
Can I say something?
Sure.
Your Honor. For the last 2 years, it has been one thing after another, okay, since I filed for back child support.
You say that in your answer. You say that it's been problems.
Yeah, I mean, he has gone out of his way to make our life miserable.
That's terrible.
And let me just tell you, what he was saying about Adam failing school and then he quit summer school. When I filed for the back child support at the very, like 2.5 years ago, whenever it was, the reason I did, after many months of talking to Ron, was I felt that Adam needed to be tested. He was having a lot of difficulty, like 7th grade, 6th, 7th grade, his grades kept going down, okay? I felt that he was having problems and he needed to be tested. I wanted to get him tested.
Okay.
I wanted Ron to help pay for that. Okay, so no, it's not immaterial because that's the reason why he was failing. As the next year he did less. The next year, which was last year, he did fail. I then, when he was failing, got him tested at Huntington Learning Center. He had a reading disability. His grade level was like 5th or 6th grade in reading and a little bit higher than that in math. He's gone to over 70 hours of tutoring since the beginning of summer, which he was already doing before he quit summer school.
Ms.
Okay?
Hicks,
and
you're
what
not
I'm trying to say
yeah,
is...
well, then say it.
Okay.
I mean, I understand that you're trying to do the right thing.
Yes, but this is what I'm saying, is that one thing after another he has done because he's been angry, because he didn't want to pay the child support arrears.
And
the latest
if that's
thing was,
true, Ms. Hicks, if that's true...
Yes.
And if he owes child support, that's outrageous.
I have a judgment.
And now, according to your papers, you were supposed to appear in court just a few days ago. I assume you got your judgment for back arrears. Is that right?
No, Your Honor. It hasn't been set aside yet, but there's other litigation going on. I do not owe it. I'm trying to settle now for $12,000, and she will not do that.
Just a second. If you're trying to settle, sir, listen to me.
Yes.
If you're trying to settle for $12,000, that in and of itself is outrageous to owe $12,000. Because if you say, I don't owe $30,000, but I owe $12,000, even that's outrageous. So
well, Your Honor, I don't owe $12,000, as a matter of fact. Well, but I am willing to settle it to get it off the case, to get on with our lives. So that is what I'm willing to do.
Just listen to me.
Okay.
Listen to me. Doesn't say stupid here. Nobody.
Nor here.
Well, it would say stupid there if you don't owe $12,000 and you're willing to settle for $12,000. Would you give away $12,000 that you didn't know? No. And he's not stupid, believe me. But that's not what this is about. Ms. Hicks, I understand that you may have frustration with him over child support. This is not what this is about. This is about one issue. It's unfortunate that it comes here to court, but logic, common sense, and the timing of the events suggest to me that there was no agreement between your son and his father that he could come and take the high-powered computer from the house. I say that to you, Ms. Hicks, because as soon as your former husband came home from work, he called you and said, listen, I didn't give him permission to take that computer. And nothing happened in that intervening 24-hour period. If you said to me, listen, Judge, this is what happened in that 24-hour period. I got it. Put your hand down. Put your hand down. You seem to be winning. Why don't you be quiet?
Good point. Thank you.
If you were to say to me, Ms. Hicks, that in that 24-hour period, he gave him permission to take the computer, then he got served with a summons for child support arrears that day, got angry, called you and said, he can't have the computer anymore. There was a misunderstanding. Then I could say, well, there was an intervening event that maybe ticked him off. But that's not what happened. He had already been advised that you were suing for child support arrears. So that nothing happened in that 24-hour period, nothing except that he went to work. And he went to work, he comes home, he finds no computer. Immediately, according to you. Picked up the phone and called you and said, bring it back, and you should have brought it back.
Ronald Reuter wants his ex-wife and his son to return his computer. Adam says his dad gave it to him.
You look like you're dying to say something.
Yes, Your Honor. May I?
I want to know if you have. I'm not interested in your feelings, sir.
I know.
I'm interested in facts.
Yes, Your Honor.
So then stand up and tell me who you are.
My name is Bob Lipman, and I am married to Laura Hicks. When Adam brought those things over there in exchange for the computer, I heard all the phone conversations.
Just a second. You mean you will? Are you telling me, Mr. Lipman?
Yes.
Are you telling me you were listening into the conversation, or you heard his part of the conversation?
I heard his part, and when Mr. Ruder showed up with the police, I heard it live. He called the police to have him arrested.
I did not.
You did twice.
Just a second. Did you call the police?
I had the police. My next option was to file a report, a missing item report.
Oh, sir, that's outrageous.
But no, wait a minute. Wait, Your Honor. I did not file. I could have had him arrested for stolen property. I did not do that. I did not do that. I did not want to do that. I love my son. There's no way I'm going to do that. It was a misunderstanding. I had the police come with me, escort me over there to ask for the property back. That was an option I had. It was a legal option. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to storm.
Just a second.
You're
absolutely right, sir.
One other point, if I may.
My mouth is moving.
One other point, if I may.
I didn't stop moving. It may have been an option. It was an option that you should have rejected as soon as it filtered into your brain. You should have said, I'm not calling the police and indicating that my son came without my permission to take property. It wasn't missing property. You knew exactly where it was.
Yep.
So it's an option that any reasonable parent would not have taken to send the police over.
I did not send the police over.
Well, what'd you expect them to do? Send them a card? Say, please return the computer to
All
local
I was trying to do
police
is do it
department?
within the legal ramifications that are available to me, and that was one of them, and it seemed very reasonable to me at the time. I'm not trying
I'm here to tell you that it was not reasonable. That's a legal option, but one that you need not necessarily exercise. So, say nothing else.
Okay.
There was clearly not an understanding between father and son with regard to this computer. Not an understanding that I'm happy that was established to my satisfaction. We understand each other, Adam?
No, because I believe that there actually was an event that happened in between the 24, happened in between the time.
I'll hear you.
I believe that is when my report card came from summer school, or the call came from summer school saying that I had dropped out. And he was very mad.
How do you know that Adam?
Yeah.
How do you know that came in that 24-hour period?
I believe he called me.
Yeah, he called on the phone. I forgot about that, too.
Just a second. He called on the phone when?
I think it was right when he got home.
You mean when he got home and found his computer missing?
I think the two things happened at the same time, and I don't believe that there is any show between which one empowered him to call.
Did you get his report card that day?
No, it was the day before.
It was the day before?
It would have been a Monday. He took it on a Tuesday.
When your former husband called and spoke to your son and then spoke to you on the day that you actually took the computer, he said to you, return the computer, right?
Yes, but he said, I think there's been a misunderstanding between Adam and I. And
okay.
Yeah, but this was also the same day, earlier in the day, actually, he called from work and said he was angry because Adam hadn't gone to summer school. And
did he speak to you?
Yes, ma'am.
He spoke to you?
Yes, ma'am.
So just a
And
second.
he talked
hold it. It gets even better. So he calls you to tell you that he's angry that Adam didn't go to summer school, something that was arranged when he was living with his father. And at that same day, later on in the day, because you said he called earlier, you took him to pick up the computer?
I don't think they were on the same day, as Ron already said. I think it was the day before, and the next day was when we went over and got the computer. Ron said
Okay,
the
just
same
a second.
thing.
That's even better. The day before, he called and had this conversation with you about being distressed that he wasn't in school. The day before. So here he is distressed with you that you're not going to school, And that was the intervening event that made him change his mind when he originally said, no, you couldn't have the computer. And you say, then he said, yes, sure, you can have the computer. Is that what you're telling me, Adam?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
Baloney.
Well.
Baloney. Forget it.
Nice try.
I'm not interested in anymore. It's enough. It's enough. You have to return the computer to your father. You want to show me something?
Yes, Your Honor, I made a mistake in the value. First off, I don't want
I'm not giving you the value, sir. I'm giving you the computer. You're getting your computer back within 5 days. Do you understand? Do you understand? 5 days. The court will draw up an order. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you.
Jerry Seinfeld came out and he said he was going to give us our money back.
Good going, Jerry Seinfeld.
Except Jerry Seinfeld's money went to the wrong guy.
I like to believe that whatever is right morally is also right legally. The law, sir, is an ass. Did you ever hear the expression?
No, I haven't.
And in this court, the law is not an ass.
But first today,
She just came over to the car and dragged me out and started beating on me.
And what happened to you as a result of this beating?
I got 3 of my fingernails ripped off, and also when the officer was pulling her off of me, she kicked me in my head.
Parties on Bigelow versus Ledger. Step forward, please.
17-year-old Sarah Bigelow says her former best friend, Alicia Ledger, also 17, assaulted her, ripping 3 fingernails off. Alicia says it was a fair fight over concert tickets.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 293 on the calendar in the matter of Bigelow versus Ledger. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have seats, please.
Miss Bigelow, you and Miss Ledger had been good friends. Is that right?
Yeah.
Your complaint is that she assaulted you, that it was an unprovoked assault and you were injured. You wanted to pay for all your medical bills as well as the pain and suffering that you sustained.
Correct.
So why don't you tell me how this happened?
Well, me and my boyfriend had bought tickets to go to a concert, and we decided to sell her a ticket because...
Tell the police when you called them, sir.
I told them that they were ripping us off and that she was really angry and I was afraid something might happen, that they should go down there before something does.
Okay. So when you called the police, you told them that you were getting ripped off, but it was a civil case.
Yeah.
You told them that you owed $20, and that you were afraid what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because your girlfriend was really angry.
Yes.
Were you lying to the police?
No.
Were you telling the police the truth?
Yeah.
So your girlfriend was really angry.
Yeah.
And you were afraid what was going to happen if the police weren't there.
Yeah.
One thing, and it was, she opened the door and we started fighting.
What did you go up to the car for? Huh? What did you go up to the car for? You had the police there. You go over to the police and you say to the police...
I told them what happened.
No. You walked up to the car. If you weren't interested in a confrontation, you wouldn't have walked up to the car. You would have stayed back with the police. There was a cruiser there, and you would say, could you please help me? This is a problem over $20, and in all probability, they would say to you, young lady, go home. This is a civil matter. Don't be here. You didn't even wait for the police to come in so that they could separate you. You went barging up right to the car.
The police were there the whole time, waiting with me.
The police didn't walk up to the car with you. Right?
Right.
Good.
2 former best friends, Sarah Bigelow and Alicia Ledger, were fighting over money paid for concert tickets. Sarah wants medical bills, plus pain and suffering for Alicia ripping out 3 of Sarah's fingernails.
Now, Miss Bigelow, you did a real stupid thing. Really stupid. You knew it was wrong to send over the $10 instead of the $30.
Mm-hmm.
You knew it was wrong, and if you didn't know it was wrong, I'm here to tell you you were wrong. Your mother will probably, I hope, will tell you that you were wrong. She was wrong. She got involved with these 2 buttes over here and what they owed each other. Right?
Right.
Well, that's dumb. And I can understand that you were angry. I really can. I can understand that you felt as if she didn't give you what she was supposed to give you. You used to be friends. Young girls sometimes get very hot about former friendships, especially when boys get in the middle.
Can I say something? I did not tell her to wait at my house.
I didn't say that to you.
No, I know.
I said you were wrong for dropping off $10 and taking the ticket. when she expected 30. That doesn't excuse your behavior.
I know, and I understand.
And you were hot. And you were hot even after you spoke to her because the answer that she gave you was not one that was satisfactory, as a result of which your boyfriend called the police, and according to him, he said, you better be there because my girlfriend is very hot and very angry and I don't know what's going to happen. Right? How much out-of-pocket expense did you have? Did any insurance cover this?
Yep, some of them, not the ambulance bill.
How much was the ambulance?
$322.50.
And the rest of the bills were covered?
This is a copay, Your Honor.
Well, the copay is 25, 25, and 25. So that's $75. So your total out-of-pocket expenses were, according to this, $397.50, the ambulance and the copays. All right. How long were you bandaged? I saw some pictures of you bandaged.
I think so.
I think so, too.
James Young bought Jerry Seinfeld concert tickets from Mark Adams. Seinfeld announced everyone would get their money back. The defendant got credit on his charge card, and the plaintiff got stuck paying.
So what did you do?
On Monday, my wife, Deb, took the tickets back, and
he agreed to buy the tickets for the purpose of going to see Jerry Seinfeld. So when Jerry announced the tickets were free, that doesn't fall within the parameters of the original oral contract.
Which was just for him to go to see the show.
Go see the show, correct.
And you honestly, in your heart and mind, believe... I'm just asking you. Before we go at it, Mr. Adams, I'm just asking you whether in your heart and mind you believe that that is a legitimate defense to his lawsuit.
From a legal standpoint, yes, I do believe it is a legitimate defense. It may not be a moral defense, but you know, if he went to the show, he has a hole also because he saw the show. So, you know, where do we split the money?
Let us assume he went to the Jerry Seinfeld show on tickets that he purchased from you.
Right.
And instead of Jerry Seinfeld coming out and saying, look, the tickets are free, he said, I want everybody in the theater to look under their seat. Mm-hmm. And whoever has a big money sign under their seat gets a brand new truck.
Okay.
And Mr. Young looks under the seat. Lo and behold, he's got the Jerry Seinfeld money sign under his seat. Who has a right to the truck?
I suppose Mr. Young does.
Why is that?
It was under his seat.
It was under his seat that he purchased from you. So he got a little bit more than he bargained for.
Exactly.
Well, under the scenario, Mr. Adams, that we have here, it's the exact same thing. He got a gift. He purchased your interest in those tickets. And whatever flowed from that, including our imaginary truck or the gift of these tickets are free. Mm-hmm. And under your theory, you should get your money and this little extra bonus. So, Mr. Adams.
No, that's not what I'm saying, Your Honor.
Well, you want to try again to explain it to me? Maybe you can convince me, Mr. Adams.
I'm saying, isn't there a happy medium here? I mean, he already has the whole.
You mean like being a little bit pregnant?
He wants the show for free.
Right.
He wants the show plus the money.
Right.
Okay.
Because that's exactly what would have happened if you went to the show.
But that didn't fall under the original oral contract.
No, what you're saying is you had an oral contract with him which said you go to the show and that's it. And that wasn't your oral contract. He said, here are the tickets. You're buying the tickets. And you want a happy medium. You say, I'll split the money with you. Is that what you're saying to me? Isn't there a happy medium?
Well, perhaps, yes.
What you said before, sir, was very telling. You said before, I believe I have the right legal position. It may not be the right moral position.
Exactly.
But it's the right legal position. Okay. And I like to believe that whatever is right morally is also right legally. That's what's wrong with this country's legal system. We've engrafted too many little problems onto the law, which makes it less moral than it should be. So if in your head and heart you say, this is the moral right thing to happen. Morally, I should give him the money back. Legally, I'm not so sure, which means that the law, sir, is an ass. Did you ever hear that expression?
No, I haven't, Your Honor.
Well, it's an unfortunate expression. And in this court, the law is not an ass. So, judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $132, which is the amount that your credit card was credited for this free concert. Good going, Jerry Seinfeld. Thank you.
Thank you. Parties are excused. You may step out.
Your people wrote your profanity on the hood of my car. It's still there.
Miss Owens, don't talk to him. Talk to me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She loaned him her Lincoln Town car and says he trashed it.
She told me to keep driving the car until I got my car back.
Jason.
Shame on you.
Jason. This part of your story, it don't make sense to me, Jason. And if it doesn't make sense to me, honey, it ain't true.
Parties on. Owens versus Reed. Step forward, please.
Caregiver Gwendolyn Owens rented her Lincoln Town car to family friend, 23-year-old bartender Jason Reed. Gwendolyn says Jason not only didn't pay, but he trashed it too.
All rise in the courtroom, please. Quiet, please. Yeah, this is case number 273 on the calendar in the matter of Owens versus Reed.
Thank you, Bird.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mrs. Owens, according to your complaint, you are a friend of the defendant's grandparents and parents.
I know, yes.
And there came a time when you leased to him one of your automobiles.
Yes, I did.
It was a
Lincoln Town car.
1991 Lincoln Town car.
Correct.
Not only didn't he pay the lease, but he trashed the car.
He certainly did.
So you're suing him for the amount of damage he did to the car as well as whatever rental agreement, lease agreement you had with him. Why don't you tell me how this agreement came about?
It was in April that Jason came to my home. He had just come from a car rental place where they were going to lease him, so he said, a small compact car for $649 a month. He was upset about that and wanted to know if I would lease him mine, that he would pay me. He would rather pay, I'm going to quote him, I would rather pay you than them any day.
Okay, so tell me about what happened when your car was returned.
Okay, when my car was returned, the telescopic antenna that only goes up when the key is on no longer existed on it. I have some pictures of the front of the car. And in fact, Jason, if you'd watched my car, you would have seen where your people wrote your profanity on the hood of my car. It's still there.
Miss Owens, don't talk to him. Talk to me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I tried to circle the profanity.
Are these the only pictures you have of the car? Because they're really very hard to tell what kind of damage
Yes,
was
it
done
is.
to the
It's
car.
the only ones that came out. The others were worse. The sun directed into the camera or something.
All right. Because this is hard to tell what kind of damage there was to the car. Was there any mechanical damage to the car?
Yes, there was.
Well, tell me about the mechanical
Okay,
damage.
I took the car to the Lincoln dealers because when he brought the car back, it was inoperable. He had broken the shifter, the thing that goes through the steering column and everything, in two places, not one place, two places. And the mechanic at the Lincoln dealer said that that car had to be traveling at high speed and hit a tall embankment.
Miss Owens, don't tell me what the person told you. Just let me see the estimates of damage.
There they are.
Okay. Looks like a book. Here.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Yeah.
Had I have not agreed to lease this car to Jason, my insurance company would sue him.
Well, did they pay for these repairs?
No.
They should have.
No.
Did they pay for these repairs?
No,
and if
ma'am,
they did
you'll
not,
see right there. You'll see the check numbers, everything.
I understand, but why did they disclaim on your policy?
Because I agreed to do this voluntarily with him.
And you were forthcoming with your insurance company and told them. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. Now, your defense is totally different.
Totally.
First, let's establish the car was returned in damaged condition, correct?
Right.
And according to you, that happened how, sir?
I parked it in valet at the Luxor Hotel. I came out in the morning, the car was broke. Now, they leave the keys in the car. They're not responsible for anything. So the car was obviously broken into, and it wasn't damaged. I think it happened. It's just wear and tear on the car. The car's an old car. What broke was underneath the steering column. It's not something somebody can go in and break, trying to break into it. I said, I will pay for it. I'm having it towed in right now. And she said, she goes, no, I want my son to do it. All this is about her son. I bailed her son out of jail for $450.
Excuse me, Miss Owens, don't speak to him. You seem to indicate in your answer that there was no lease agreement.
There was no lease agreement. I never signed anything.
I didn't ask you whether you signed anything. So tell me how it came about, sir, that you got possession, according to you, of this car.
She called me and asked me if I could bail her son out of jail. He got in a DUI. I said, no problem. She said, I have no money. He has no money. Could you please help us out, Jason? I said, no problem.
Did you know her son?
Yes. He used to work for my dad 8 years ago. I haven't seen him in 8 years.
All right. So you went and bailed him out.
So I went and bailed him out for her. She went with me to go down and pick him up. She said, hey, listen, Jason, I heard you need a car. Why don't you drive my extra Lincoln as a favor back to you?
Okay. Now,
not
Miss
to
Owens,
mention she asked me to help him.
Miss Owens, had your son been arrested?
According to him, yes.
No. I didn't ask according to him, Miss Owens. I have to get to the truth of this matter.
Correct.
Had your son been arrested?
Correct.
Did you call him and ask him to bail your son out of jail?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Did you go down with him to bail your son out of jail?
Yes, because he could not put up the bail. He was with him when he got arrested. He was his driver.
I was not with him.
Just
you
a
were
second.
drunk.
I was not
My
with
son
him.
was drunk.
Hey, please
You were drunk. My
Miss
son
Owens,
was drunk.
you're not paying attention to me.
I'm sorry.
Just talk to me. Understood? You did go down with him. He was there when your son was bailed out of jail. Is that correct?
Correct.
Who put up the money?
I did, and my property.
You did not. She put up her home. She had to sign for her home. I paid the cash. I paid $450 cash.
Did you get it back?
No, I didn't get it back. Not to mention, she asked me to help pay for him and take care of him. I got him 2 jobs. He didn't go to him. I paid for him his gas, everything, his chew. I paid for everything.
So let me
because she asked me to help him out.
So let me ask you this question. After you bailed him out of jail, where were you when you had the discussion about the car?
In my car.
In which car?
I had my dad's truck at the time. I went and picked her up at her house so she could go down and sign, and I could pay the cash because she didn't have the money.
Okay. So according to you, there was no agreement to lease a car to you?
No agreement.
That she was just being a nice person and letting you use the car?
I got burned because I was being a nice guy, and she knows how I am. She knows how I really am. This is wrong.
When the car didn't work, Jason, did you call her and tell her that the car didn't work?
I called her and said I was going to have it towed in.
So you called her and told her that the car didn't work?
From the Luxor Hotel, from the parking lot, from my cell, I called and said, listen, I'm going to have your car towed in. She said, no, bring it home. We'll let Jim fix it. He's a mechanic. He kind of does everything. She said, it'd be a lot cheaper. I said, well, I'll pay for it. I'm not worried about it. I have to drive the car, so I want it fixed. She goes, just bring it over and Jim can fix it. It'll be much cheaper. The day I brought it over, she chewed me out and started going off on me.
What do you mean?
For money.
Just a second. How much after this alleged incident at the Luxor Hotel did you return the car to her?
About 3 weeks.
What were you doing with the car for 3 weeks?
I had driven the car for about a month, about 2 months.
No. If you say
the car was still drivable.
Gwendolyn Owens is suing Jason Reed for repairs, paint, and rent for a Lincoln Town Car totaling $5,000. Jason says no way did he do that much damage.
According to you, Mr. Reed, you called her from the Luxor and told her that something happened to the car.
Yes.
Well, then I don't understand why you would have called her from the hotel late at night or early in the morning if there was really nothing wrong with the car that prevented you from driving it.
No, what happened was in the morning when I called her, I'd called AAA at the same time.
What'd you call AAA for?
To come pick the car up. It wasn't drivable. he came, the AAA guy came down and said, listen, Jason, he goes, do you want to drive this car to here or do you want me to tow it? He goes, it makes no difference to me. I said, well, I'd like to drive it. So he showed me how I could manually shift the car underneath the dash. You stuck your hand up, grabbed the shifter, and shifted it. So that's why she told me to keep driving it.
Now you're telling me she told you to keep driving it.
She told me to keep driving the car until I got my car back.
Jason. Jason.
Shame on you.
Jason. You know, there was part of your story that made sense to me, Jason. This part of your story, it don't make sense to me, Jason.
Why
If it
doesn't?
doesn't make sense to me, honey, it ain't true. Because if you come out and your car is not drivable, and if you're a responsible person, and if it's your car, and when you borrow someone's car, as you said, as you borrowed someone's car, you treat it with more care than you treat your own car.
Right. She told me to bring it over to her house so Jim could fix the car because she didn't have the money to pay for it to be fixed, and I offered to pay for it.
Good. So there we have one thing that's really important. So you offered to fix the car that you had then been driving. And let's say she said no. But you offered to fix it because if you offered to fix it, Mr. Reed, then you must have appreciated, at least at that moment, that that was your moral responsibility since you were driving the car at the time. Not only driving the car when it was something happened to it at the hotel, but driving the car for 3 weeks after it with whatever clunking or whatever it was doing.
No, it wasn't like that.
Or whatever manipulating you had to do to get it going. Ms. Owens, what kind of relationship does this defendant have with your son?
None.
Well,
Same
just
as I have.
just a second. I
We
said, what kind of,
only
I didn't
know
ask you
him.
whether you were a relative. I said, what kind of relationship does your son have with him?
He just visited him while he was here visiting.
Lived with me, you should say.
Shh. Miss Owens, you have a son. How old is your son?
37. He's a
Miss
grown
Owens, if you don't talk to me, I'm going to say that to you only once more. Don't look at him. You talk to me. You want to talk to him? You talk to him outside. In here, you talk to me. You have a son. According to you, they were together at the time your son was arrested, so I assume they had some sort of relationship. Is that right?
Correct.
Right. Were they friends?
I would think so.
How long
My
have you
son knew his father.
Were you friends?
We're good friends.
All right. Let me tell you, Mr. Reed, there are certain things that make sense and certain things that don't. You drove this car for a period of time. 6 weeks?
About 8 weeks.
8 weeks. And according to the plaintiff, you had a lease agreement. Now, let me tell you why I have a tendency to believe that there was some sort of a lease agreement. Because what Mrs. Owens did when she had this damage to the car, she called her insurance company, and she, instead of saying the car was damaged this way, she said, well, I leased the car to this young man, and that's all the insurance company had to hear. And they said, well, if you leased it to somebody else without our permission, then we're not responsible for any damage that occurred to the car. You understand?
Right, I understand that.
So she was clearly upfront with the insurance company and say that she had this agreement, even though you weren't paying her each week or each month. She says in her papers, you said to her, we'll settle up at the end. Now, my question about settling up in the end, I come back to this, Miss Owens. And this is just a minor question. Was your son living with the defendant after he was bailed out of jail? Just answer my question.
No.
Who was he living with?
Himself. He came with a fifth wheel, pulling a fifth wheel. You know, a trailer, fifth wheel, RV, recreational vehicle.
You say he was living with you.
He was living with me. Who would want to live in a trailer?
You did.
Shut up.
I did. I never lived in a trailer.
Miss Owens, you did it again. Maybe you just forget. Because you seem to suggest in your papers that there was sort of a trade-off for whatever money you spent on her son living with you for the use of this car. That was an underlying suggestion in here. Was that ever discussed with her?
No, and that's the whole
Okay, that's all I want to know. That was never discussed with her.
No, he was telling me he was discussing this with her. He said, I got this all taken care of with my mother.
No. But you never discussed it with her?
Never.
Well, if you never discussed it with her, sir, that there was going to be some sort of an accounting at the end, in exchange for the lease, whatever money you spent on her son living with you, if he in fact lived with you, if that conversation was not had with the plaintiff, it doesn't exist.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you telling me that out of the goodness of your heart, you went carless for 8 weeks?
Correct.
It's so easy to do a case when everybody is telling a little bit of a lie, Miss Owens.
Closed captioning, sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Gwendolyn Owens claims Jason Reed owes her $5,000 for damages and rental fees on her Lincoln Town Car.
Mr. Reed, tell me what happened with the paint job on this car.
I have no idea. Her son's a punk, and he probably did something to it.
What do you mean her son?
They made up stuff. That car was, it's a joke.
Well, quite frankly, I couldn't see any damage to the
There wasn't
paint.
any damage to the car.
Miss Owens, I didn't see any damage to the car based upon the photographs.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
hard for me to tell.
No, that's where I tried to photograph the filth that his friends or somebody wrote.
Filth.
4-letter words right on the front of my car. If I don't keep it dirty, everybody gets to read it.
You mean it's embedded in the paint?
Yes.
Well, if it's embedded in the paint, then you had a bad paint job. Because according to the papers...
I haven't had it painted yet, ma'am. I have the estimates on the paint job. Do you have those right there?
So you haven't had any of this work done on the car?
Not the paint job. Everything but the paint job. I have spent $4,054.07, excluding the paint job.
According to you, Miss Owens, you have a rental fee in here of $25.96. Where do you get $25.96 from?
Do you have that right there on the front of your paperwork?
I have, according to your complaint, that you spent.
I have 4 months of car rental.
He said he only had the car for 8 weeks.
When I discovered my car in the front yard, it was inoperable. I could not drive it. Maybe he figures out how to do this.
No.
But I can't.
How long did he have the car?
4 months.
According to you, 4 months. And are you also attributing 2 months to him when your car was inoperable?
Correct.
Miss Owens?
Correct.
I'm not doing that, madam.
Correct.
I'm not doing that. He had the car for 8 weeks. I mean, this is supposed to be responsible. He returned the car to you. I assume you have more than one car. Is that right? Which is why you let him...
No, ma'am, that's the only car I have.
That's a lie.
Miss Owens, are you telling me that out of the goodness of your heart, you went carless for 8 weeks? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, a couple of times I tried to drive my deceased husband's big dually. You know, a big truck with duals on it.
It's so easy to do a case when everybody is telling a little bit of a lie, Miss Owens.
I'm not.
Well, you are, madam. When you say this is my only car, I don't believe that you gave this young man your car under whatever circumstances you gave it to him if you didn't have another car to drive. This is not your grandson. So I don't believe that you did not have another car to drive. And
Ma'am, I'm 4 blocks from everything.
And I am certainly not going to charge him for, according to you, the several months that you did not have use of this car.
हो जाएगी इसके स्केट की
किसके
स्केट टूट जाएगा इसका
राहुल का कल टूट गया ना स्केट
नहीं
कल वाला
हट का ये वाला नहीं टूटता ही इसके आगे से देख रहे हैं जगह ये सीधी शूट के लिए
जा 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 जा